Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age Jimmy. This is Charles with Evershade Gaming, and I've got another Ninth Age battle report for y'all. So, this is the last game of Loo, the last game of .204. After this, I'm very excited to start making some .205 content. I got one game in recently, but it was a playtest game, so unfortunately I can't share that with you. But that was a fun game, and I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed some of the new units. Kind of like, some of the cheaper stuff I was able to take, especially in my core. So that was awesome. So again, this is the last game at Loo, round 3. Played against a UD opponent. And again, 80 flag list, bunch of prelates, Pyromancy Wizard, cheap BSB, bunch of core, bunch of heavy infantry, a little bit of light shooting, couple cannons, 80 flagellants. All got champions. What more do you need to know? We've already talked about it 3 times. Well, 4 times. I played another game with this. It's a fun list. It's, I'm going to talk about this list at the end of the game, but I was almost surprised by how much I enjoyed playing this list, actually. So, looking at my opponent's Undying Dynasties list. So, he's got 3 characters, Casket of Fatap, a Death Cult Hierarch. He's the general with evocation. He's the Hierophant, obviously. He's got a horse, skeleton horse. He's a wizard master with a binding scroll and a crystal ball. So it was sort of defensive magic-wise. And then he's got a just a very basic Death Cult Hierarch with cosmology, wizard apprentice, and a binding scroll. So nice, kind of little cheap guy. Little altered sight action. And then he's got 2 units of skeleton archers to... This is actually, you're going to see in a second, this is a very shooting list, and this is the start of the shooting. From here, he's got 2 units of chariots with the banner of Entombed, and they're legionnaire chariots, so they're scoring, and they can ambush, which is just awesome. And then he has 9 skeleton scouts, the only other horses in the list, so you can kind of guess where his general goes. They didn't scout in my game, and then they have a standard bearer. And then he's got 2 charnel catapults, one thing of Shopti archers, but oh wait, he's got another unit of Shopti archers with the bows, and then he's got a Colossus with what is that? Oh, that's a giant aspen bow. So he's got another bow, and he's got 2 units of 3 Tomb Reapers with paired weapons. So I love this list. I love it and hate it, obviously. I thought it was really tough. I think this guy was having a decent day. I can't exactly remember, but he was playing, and I just also love his Colossus model here. It's just a bunch of bits thrown together. Oh, it's so great. But yeah, I'm pretty sure in our list review, we gave his first matchup a win, because this list can really dance around people, and it's just got a lot of shooting. So in our deployment phase, starting on the left here, he's got some Tomb Reapers and one of his catapults. And he's got one of his archers and his cosmology wizard. And we're playing Dawn Assault, so we couldn't deploy in one of those corners. And his corner was to the left of this picture. And then on the hill there, he's got one of his units of 3 Shopti archers and his Colossus. And then behind that hill, he's got his Casket of Fatap, his skeleton horse boys, 3 more Shopti archers, 10 more normal archers, another 3 Tomb Reapers, and his catapult, his second catapult. And then looking at my deployment, so he picked tableside. I let him deploy first, like I did with everybody today, and then he dropped everything. So I was sort of able to counter deploy, but he wisely chose the right corner, and he didn't give me a hill. So fortunately, my wizard was really exposed. So I have flagellants on my right, heavy infantry with my BSB in it again, the heavy infantry with halberds, a cannon behind them, and then my unit of flagellants with my general in it, right kind of in the center of my board, center of my line. I have another cannon behind them, and next to my wizard. You just can't see it because my wizard's so tall. Wizard behind my general's unit. Both units that have light infantry in a field. This is actually the same board I played on round 1 too. So if you kind of see some similar terrain, it is the same board. And then another unit of flagellants. And then I had both my units of heavy infantry on my left here because the objective was breakthrough, and I was going to try and just get these guys to wrap around. So going right into Undying Dynasties turn 1. He puts 3 wounds on my wizard. Yeah, he doesn't need to move that much. I think his Reapers might, you know, slide a little bit, but they almost barely moved. Everything just stayed put, basically. Everything was in range. You know, his bows are such a long range, 36 inches everywhere. With the Shopties and the, you know, the great bow, at least. So between the catapults and magic, he's able to put 3 wounds on my wizard, which was like, ugh, already turn 1. You know, he's already taken a lot of damage, so. And then Emperor Sonnstahl, turn 1. We're just pushing forward, baby. Yeah, you can see his Reapers on the right there moved over a little bit, but everything else is able to basically stay still and just kind of shoot forward. So, yeah, we just needed to start moving forward, so we do. Because, man, we really need to get up in these guys' face and really kind of kick some butt in combat. That's the only way we're going to win. I'm able to move my wizard. I tried to get a Scorching Salvo off, and I couldn't. He stopped that. And these are basically the only spells I get off. And I get a Fireball off and a Pyclastic Flow on the unit of archers of the Evocation guy. And kill all but one. And then I was going to try and pick on them with my light infantry. And I do pick on them with my light infantry. And I'm able to kill the unit. And I only put 1 wound on the wizard. So I was kind of hoping to kill this guy right here, just get him out of the way. You know, Altered Sight's such a good spell. And really good on his shooting, too. Especially with Evocation, because he's got Altered Sight and Reels to hit. So I wanted to try and get rid of that. Couldn't. Turn 1, both my cannons aim at his Colossus. This was great. 1 hits, or one, I'd say the order is misfire, a roll a 1 to wound, can't shoot the rest of the game, hit, roll a 1 to wound. You know, the usual for cannons, turn 1. So unfortunately, yeah, we've all moved forward. We're just kind of going as fast as we can forward, but it's going to take a long time. And then going right into Undying Dynasties, turn 2. I don't believe he moves too much far forward. Again, the Reapers on the right there are they're just going to keep dancing around me. The Reapers on the left, they don't dance as much. They're pretty much just looking at those flags on my left here most of the time. He gets both his chariots up on turn 2. I think one of them basically comes on, the one on the left comes on where it wants to. The one on the right of this picture, in the middle of it, it slides, I think it slid back almost into the ones on the left there. So he's got a choice now if he wants to go with flags or if he wants to go after my shooting. Kills my wizard, turn 2. REP. This guy died every game, and it's my fault. I'm the only one that can be blamed. He didn't have Aegis save this entire tournament, so fortunately he's dead. He only had a 4-up armor save too. He puts a wound on the cannon that can still shoot, so that's okay. Still got 4 wounds. Still can pump cannonballs out. And then going right into Emperor Sonnstahl turn 2. So again, we're moving forward. I'm resisting the urge to use my Brand Relentless Company on the heavy infantry with halberds, because I'm thinking, like, I really wanted to get him a forward, but, like, if the Colossus comes in the shop T, like, they're just gonna break that unit one round of combat. It's too many attacks, too many grinding attacks, too many stomps, you know, and I can't do enough damage to those guys. So I'm holding back. I could probably take one at a time, but not both. So, and then over here, this is kind of showing. I don't have musicians in my light infantry because I kept my core, you know, as mid as possible. So I mean, I was able to move back so they can get a standing shield against those chariots, but you know that's not really going to do much. And then this is just showing off. You know, I'm trying to get close to this guy. I'm trying to bring him in, but he's, you know, he knows he can just dance around. So he is dancing around these flagellants here because he doesn't really want to go in the front. I don't blame him. So, and then this might be a skip forward. Or actually, no, this is showing that I moved my prelate out of the flagellants into my BSB's unit because I thought, like, I probably want him here instead. If, you know, actually, yes, that's right. I actually might. This is not a great player move. But my opponent was okay with it. I basically moved these guys a little more forward. I'm still in the front of his tomb dudes, but I decided, like, he's just gonna keep dancing around me. I have to just go for his shooting, and I'm gonna move my prelate over to make my heavy infantry a little bit more viable. I'm able to shoot with my cannon. I put 3 wounds on his Colossus, so that was appreciated. I wish I could have done that turn 1, but, you know, sometimes you just roll a misfire. So going into Undying Dynasties turn 3. He's able to, he decides to go after these heavy infantry because they're getting, or these flagellants because they're getting close. And I think it wasn't that really worried about my light shooting, which it really wasn't doing that much. And technically, and the flagellants are more points than all of it. And he charges my heavy infantry as well with his other unit chariots. So this is kind of looking up. He's actually sort of started to back up with everything. And he moved his horse archers over. And you can actually see they're behind his Ushabti right now. So, and then he's got his other Death Cult Hierarch to the right of that unit, I guess. Kind of between the Tomb Reapers and the Ushabti, all kind of back there. All kind of, everything's just, you know, scrunching back because they don't really want to get into combat. They're all shooting, you know, they're all having a great time just killing stuff left and right. But for the most part, his shooting was pretty effective. But he wasn't really targeting my flagellants as much, and we'll kind of see how that plays out. He's able to get a couple buffs off, heal a couple wounds off his Colossus, which was great for him. And then he kind of shoots right here, and he does a bunch of wound. I can't remember if this was a catapult hit or if this was a... I feel like that was a catapult hit, actually, from one of the Cardinal catapults. It might have been a partial hit, because I probably would have done more if it was a bigger one. And then he puts a couple more wounds on my cannon here. They can still fire, so it's got 3 wounds now. I think these are coming from, like, the Ushabti archers. You know, even at 36 inches, they can just barely get him. And I think his cast of the top couldn't do its spell at the cannon either. So, yeah. In combat, I went fine, I guess. I was kind of happy he went into my flagellants because at this point I'm thinking, like, now I can just kill these things, you know, kill this unit. I'd rather it kill a bunch of flags than me be able to kill it. So, you know, we do like 7 wounds. It does a bunch with its impact hits and everything. So I was okay with that result. I feel like this unit with 2 ranks is still... It maybe can't kill Tomb Reapers, but it can handle a lot of other things in this army. And then over here, he kills, what, like 8 or something like that. I think I might do a wound, but I don't make my steadfast test, and he breaks me, so... yeah, I don't know, it was like, it was the best I felt like I could hope for in this case. It's just, like, really tough. And then he overruns, and he ends up right about here. So I'm going to have to probably turn those heavy infantry with spears around to try and deal with those. I was trying to get these guys to go after that catapult, but yeah, we got to do something. So, top of Empire Sonnstahl turn 3. This was exciting. This was like, I was like, wait, I've got a game on my hands finally. Because otherwise I was just getting shot. I was just like moving forward. But at this point I was able to get my flagellants into his Ushabti archers. And the spicy thing is, right behind those Ushabti archers is a unit of skeleton horse archers with a Hierophant in it. And they are not that far away. So I got really excited about that. And this is actually, this is kind of post-charge. And it's actually a couple magic things have already happened. I get rerolls to wound off on my heavy infantry here. You know, I was, you know, at this point, you know, I keep getting a bunch of dice, and it's like, all I have is bound spells, so he's able to stop most of the ones he doesn't want to go through, but I get rerolls to wound them, and I get a 5 with Aegis on this unit, so, well, whatever helps, I guess, you know. Again, just trying to do as much damage as possible in combat, but I mean, even saving this unit's flagellants from getting killed isn't bad either, because that obviously helps towards combat res too. So, a couple of things happen before we go right to combat. I want to show that I did turn these guys around to soak up a charge. You know, spears are a little bit better on these guys than the sword and board. And then, yeah, these guys are facing here. But it does not mean... And actually, he's only about 18 inches away from my heavy infantry, so I was kind of hoping he might want to try and take that charge. Or he might have been closer than that. I think he needed like a 10 or 11 maybe to get in my heavy infantry, so... Almost kind of hoping he'd fail a charge, and I could charge him with my flagellants. But the combat with these Ushabti archers goes great. We lose a few guys, but we're easily able to overrun into the horse archers. And this is great, because we should really just be able to, you know, beat these guys up next turn. on his turn, and then start making him take some crumble checks, hopefully. So really excited about that, because yeah, that could really swing this game for me. So going into the next turn, we yeah, he's got 1 win on chariot. He charges here with his chariots. These guys are just gonna take it on the face. They're also sort of hoping for a crumble, you know, like there's like this hope for a crumble, because I could even see these 3 chariots grinding through these guys with spears, you know. Winning on 5s is tough. I like spears, but winning on 5s can be really rough. This guy attempts to charge and fails it. And then he ends up getting Dance Macabre right in front of my unit, so, which I thought was a decent move, because I could have probably marched past him if I wanted to with my Banner Relentless Company, but now he's right in my face, so yeah. And then boom, got rid of his Hierophant. Just, again, honestly, really wasn't much of a challenge. Horse skeleton dudes aren't really tough. Easily able to kind of just blow through them and crumple them, and then the crumbles start happening. So this is, I don't know how I kind of missed some pictures, but basically at the start of EOS turn 4, a bunch of things took crumble tests. And this is actually after comp. Things got too exciting with crumbles. So his other wizard also crumbles after his other wizard dies. So unfortunately, that guy couldn't become the next Hierophant. So now he's basically just stuck with crumbles on his turn. Both his catapults take a bunch of wounds. Everything takes wounds, but nothing really blows up except for that wizard, really. And then we're going into kind of, this is my EOS turn 4. His Tomb Reapers right there in the right there, they're pretty resilient. They're discipline 10, so they just kind of hide behind the hill, just to save points at this point, I believe. I think they wanted to try and get some of those cannons. And then, yeah, everything's just kind of cornering in on everything else. I still got these guys alive, and at this point, I think I thought I was in the scoring, but then we later realized, like, oh man, this is Dawn Assault, because the chariots ended up crumbling to death too. So I need to try and move them more. Turn 5, these guys come in. These last few turns, I think we were trying to wrap things up. Things were dying left and right. It was pretty chaotic, actually, with the crumbles and with just like, I think we might have been pressed for time, because at the beginning of the game we were rolling, my opponent was rolling a lot of dice. He's a lot of shooting, a lot of magic. I had a lot of tough decisions to make with magic sometimes. So I think we took a lot in our beginning games, and then like the last few turns were just like flying through. So he kills a bunch of heavy infantry when he comes in on his turn, and then on his turn 6 he basically kills them. On my turn 5 I just move closer to things. One of the big things is, I'll show you in a second, I was able to keep moving my light infantry forward, and they were crucial, actually. He ends up getting both my cannons at the end of his turn 6 as well. Yeah, I just couldn't really, I think it was actually on my turn 5, he broke through my heavy infantry. His turn 6, he comes in, he kills both my cannons. My turn 6, I'm actually able to get all my flagellants into the last of his remaining units. His Ubshapti were crumbling, but slowly. His archers were also crumbling slowly. And I think the casket took a couple wounds from crumbles, but, they had decent discipline everywhere here, too, so. Not like the catapults. Catapults exploded because they're like discipline 4 or something like that. Look at these guys. These little light infantry were able to march on my last 2 turns, because they've been marching forward to try and shoot that wizard, but they were able to get into his deployment zone just barely, or not even barely, and actually get me the objective, because I misplayed with my spears. I mean, they also should have been able to get in there after they killed the chariots, but I think I put them in the wrong corner, basically, because we were playing Dawn Assault. And yeah, by the end of the game, all the flagellants win. They win all their combats pretty easily enough. The casket explodes, but it doesn't really do that much damage. It's only strength 1, and this is where the game ends. So I've got some spears alive. I've got some light infantry alive. I've got I don't know what happened to that other unit of light infantry. Actually, both units of light infantry and pretty are alive. I think one's just in that field in the left of this picture. He's got basically his Colossus on maybe 2 wounds, and his big unit, his 3 Tomb Reapers are fine, and that's it. And yeah, this game really flipped on a dime when he lost his Hierophant, unfortunately. which can happen when you play Undying Dynasties. It's sort of the risk, the whole thing, and it ends up being a 17-3 Emperor Sonnstahl victory because those crossbows got me the objective. Yeah, because they just able to march in there. He could have turned his Colossus to try and charge them, but I think it was like a long charge. The terror might have been worth it. I don't know, he might have been out of range. Or maybe I don't know. But yeah, I think he just wanted to get that cannon. He might have been worried about crumbling and getting a cannon shot and dying, which is fair too. So, because the Colossus, I think, is only an 8, so that guy could lose some wounds pretty quickly if he rolled really high in a discipline test. So yeah, Emperor Sonnstahl victory wrapping up soon. The Loo able to keep those Undying Dynasties in the grave. Those halberdiers just stabbing those skeletons down. Yeah, this game, I can't really say it was the funnest game, even though I really admire my opponent's Undying Dynasties list. Really hard with my list to play it because I just don't have enough. I don't have enough moving things on my flanks to try and counteract those Tomb Reapers. Those guys are just so hard for me to deal with because they can just keep flying around. I mean, I got lucky that his Tomb Hierophant was in the right place at the right time for me to go in there, and that I was able to get those other units, that other unit of Tomb Reapers. Because otherwise, I mean, I only got those guys because I got them in the flank, you know. So, 80 flag list. Thoughts, comments, considerations. It's a blast to play. I thought it was going to be a drag all weekend. I thought this list was like going to be just really weird and slow. I thought it was going to get beat the crap all the time, and it is all those things. But it's sort of just fun having so many bodies on the table. It's fun having these crazy units of flagellants. Thematically, I loved this army. I felt like it was the small contingent of Empire troops, because otherwise everything else is just like, you know, like these core Empire guys, and you've got your spears, you got your halberds, your spears, your swordsmen, your crossbowmen, your couple cannons. It seems like the small patrol guys that got like kind of like a big addition of pseudo worshippers, and then they had to face these opponents. I loved it. It felt very thematic playing it. It just felt so intense with all these guys on the board, and flags are just so much fun sometimes. Sometimes they did unexpected things. Other times it went kind of according to plan. I wish there was a way to make them faster. That's the worst part about this army, is it's so slow. And I played against 2 armies they were able to really sit back and shoot, you know, and shoot magic. And then I played one army that had some aggressive elements, but also like some other slow shooting elements too. So very interesting army. And it got cheaper in 0.205, so I don't know, I might pull it out again. Yeah, I want to give a shout out and a thanks to Evan Swiss Hobbies that's his handle on Facebook. He mentioned it, his 9th Age thing. If I find it, I'll put it in the my description. I just want to thank him for a great little 3-game event that was awesome. Soon the Loo was great, the Southern Ontario Open. He really enjoyed it. I think I had talked to other guys that really liked it. I think some of the Mission guys that came from Lansing didn't love it as much because they came from so far. I have the benefit of only being like 2.5 hours away because I'm so close to the Blue Water Bridge. Not to give away my geographic position, but I went there with Alex and we had a great time. It was so. I mean, I've been in Canada forever. I don't think that was his first time leaving the country. We had such a great time. The location was good. We probably could have used more space, and I think they're going to need more space if they want to expand it. But we'll figure that out next year. Again, I just want to thank Evan. Thanks for his hobbies. Great little great event. And then here, just to round out the battle report, I've got a fun little clip for Wendy's. I want to thank everybody for watching, and see you in the battle report soon enough. Sooner or later.
The acting gig.
All right, I want to see you try this poutine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Are you snapping right now?
I'm just taking a normal video.
Okay.
Because, you know, we're in Canada.
So let's get us a cheese curd. Let's get us some bacon.
Oh yeah, look at this guy. Oh boy, going in.
And we'll get us some fries. Not bad. Oh, what's hot? It's hot.
Going in.
Honestly, pretty good.
great.
Yeah.